each and every one of you tuning in. Please do me a favor and like and share. It is a beautiful AM here in Arizona, a little red rock behind me. I've got the sun rising, and we have a very important report today. Please, again, get it out to your friends and family. Absolutely an emergency alert. And this is my message. So I've been very concerned in recent weeks, maybe going on even a month now. I posted a video yesterday that I can feel a deep spiritual warning that something is imminent and something is coming, but I can't really put my finger on it. Something feels off. It's as if the energy in the world has shifted. Please like and share. If you feel the same way, say, yes, Christopher, I can hear you. Or give me a thumbs up and be like, yes, Christopher, I feel the same way. Something has shifted. A lot of people said it shifted around the solar eclipse, but I actually think it was even long before that. But some kind of spiritual forces is now present in the world that wasn't there before. And this is major for those of you that can feel this and can discern it. The discernment alarm bells, the 5-alarm warning is going off. Sipping a little morning coffee. Don't usually drink coffee, but I felt like some today. So please like and share this. Make sure you beat the algorithms because they really don't want this truth out to the general public. Today I wake up and like a drum, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is trading down a catastrophic 666 points. 666 points. I just took a screenshot on my phone here. It's 7:17, just turned 7:18 a.m. Arizona time. Catastrophic collapse in the U.S. stock market. Now, I posted a video on Twitter, now X, yesterday at AMTV Media, and I said that the Tesla stock rally is a dead cat bounce. It's going to drop like a rock. Don't get sucked in. If anything, you want to be selling it short. I believe I'm 100% right on that. And the reason why I've been talking about Tesla stock, and I know it's unpopular because it seems like the whole world loves Elon Musk. They think he's the greatest, putting microchips in people's heads. They just love it. And they think he's pro-freedom, working with the deep state and the DOD and the Pentagon. And they just love the fact he's building a spy surveillance network. And they're so brainwashed. They just think, everything this guy touches is so amazing, even though he wears Satan costumes and worships the New World Order. But they just love him so much, right? Pushed this thing, called it unequivocal. It blows my mind. So again, I know it's unpopular. I'm not trying to be popular. I'm just telling you guys the 100% unadulterated truth. The fact that the elites or the powers that were are allowing Elon Musk stock Tesla, which is artificially propped up by the U.S. government and U.S. taxpayers through government contracts, Pentagon contracts. That's who funds Elon Musk and his company. That's who funds Tesla. That's who funds the Boring Company. That's who funds Starlink. It's the new NASA over at SpaceX. Remember when they told us that it's real because it looks fake? Do you remember that? That's literally what they said. And so I have this dark spiritual warning that I've been feeling for a very long time now, and I believe I've put my finger on it today. So we're going to reveal all that and a whole lot more. And the reason why I've been picking on Tesla stock is because to me it is a bellwether indicator for the rest of the market. So I want you to imagine for a minute, Tesla stock has already collapsed 40% recently in recent weeks. Well, imagine how much further it's going to go down in the coming days when the stock market is systemically nosediving as well in a black swan. You've seen nothing yet. We saw this in 2008-09. The entire stock market works together. It's all hot air, and it's built on a foundation of bubbles and debt. That's all it is. And when it starts selling off, like in 2008-09, there's not even a safe sector. Everything just crashes to zero. So Tesla, which has typically been the Ponzi scheme stock with no profits, barely any earnings, just a la-la land, even Elon Musk himself said, I don't want you to look at my company as a car company anymore. We're moving to AI. The only reason he's saying that is because his car company is failing. He wouldn't say that unless the company's failing. So now he's going to spin it, we're an AI company. We're a self-driving car company now. It's the algorithms. Just you public don't have to understand what I've built, but this is the future. And so they're allowing Tesla stock to collapse. And I think that will continue. Today it's up 1.5%. And it bounced, which I believe is a dead cat bounce yesterday. Case in point, after the bell, after the close of the US stock market yesterday, Meta posted returns, formerly Facebook, catastrophic results, nosedives 15%. We have Google reporting earnings, I think today. I could be wrong about that, but in the next few days. So we have a lot of tech indicators. Now keep in mind, the entire Dow Jones Industrial Average isn't represented by mom and pop companies. It's represented by the significant Ponzi scheme 7. You know, the 7 companies that are the oligarchs in the United States, the billionaire class that really owns Washington, D.C., your politicians and the president. It's only 7 stocks, guys, that runs the entire U.S. stock market. They have basically rigged the averages. Many of you know this in recent years, where they've only stacked it with like Google, Amazon, Tesla, which is a part of the NASDAQ or whatnot, Meta. They've only put the certain companies that are the companies that are essentially not even free market capitalist companies at all. And so it's artificially rigged the representation of the US stock market, many people believe, including myself. Also want to comment on what's happening at college universities right now with the protests, which proves the point that so many people are just not smart enough, and that 99% of the people that you listen to on social media are plants, and they've been positioned by government authorities and intelligence agencies because they'll cover the protests, the Israeli protests that are currently occurring on college campus at UT. But the only thing they talk about is the divisive nature of the right-left politics. And they'll call out like Benjamin Netanyahu a little bit, but they don't tell you the real source for the protest. Again, people aren't smart enough just to protest at these college universities. They're being engineered to protest. This is CIA Intelligence Operations 101. The first thing you do is you create your own opposition so you can control that opposition to feed your narrative and the agenda moving forward that you want. That's how the CIA and intelligence agencies work here in the United States and also abroad. But Christopher, why would the CIA engineer protests against Israel? Because that feeds the narrative of anti-Semitism, the taboo topic that no one is allowed to talk about. So it actually helps out their agenda, Netanyahu and Israel, and also steers the media narrative the direction that they want. And what does the US government want, which really isn't even sovereign anymore? I mean, I was actually not sure who the president was yesterday. I saw Benjamin Netanyahu speaking. He was commenting on the college protests, saying it harkened back to like the 1930s, which it hasn't. It's not that bad at all. That's an absolute fabrication and a lie and a hyperbole and exaggeration. But when he was speaking, I actually thought he was the United States president. It's amazing that these outside countries have more influence, control over Washington, D.C. politics, and most importantly, the pocketbooks of U.S. taxpayers than we actually do. It's absolutely insane. And so, why again have they engineered? Why have intelligence agencies engineered these protests, which I expect to grow larger in the coming days? Almost kind of like a little domestic Arab Spring, right? Has the CIA fingerprints all over it. Because again, it furthers the anti-Semitism taboo topic narrative, which no one can speak out against, which then pushes all of Washington and the general public to favor the wars that no one really deep down in their heart or souls actually want. And that's why they're doing it. It also tells me that Israel is a gnat's ass away from attacking Rafah, because they wouldn't be putting out a PR campaign in defense of poor Israel unless they were about to attack another part of the Middle East. Now, again, I love the Israeli people. I stand with the Israeli people. Israeli people are amazing people, but the politicians is what I'm talking about today. I believe they're incredibly corrupt. And keep in mind, Benjamin Netanyahu was on the verge of being thrown out of office prior to the convenient October 7th, terrible attacks that appears like they stood down and actually wanted to happen, which I told you in advance, which is pretty obvious. I mean, if the IDF can't defend against the dudes rolling in kites with their vast surveillance apparatus, it proves them negligent, stupid, and they've been lying to you. They have no defenses, and or they actually wanted it to happen, which I believe they did. And so this feeds that narrative. So just keep this in mind as the college campus protests ramp up. I mean, you don't think these college kids are smart enough to actually like protest something real like lockdowns or this thing, right? Because we didn't see any of that. They didn't protest their human rights or anything like that. But they're going to create a little skirmish on the college campus engineered by the CIA. And that's 100% the fact. And no one else, you've heard no one else say this. I know that to be 100% factual, unadulterated truth, whether you like it or not. Now, keep in mind, when the attack on Rafah occurs, they've already set up camps. These are internment concentration camps for Palestinians. You know, this is where they when they enslaved blacks or they took Japanese Americans and they rounded them up and threw them into camps. Or you remember the extermination camps of the Native Americans, right? They just kind of rounded them up, stole all their land, threw them into, these like little areas that the U.S. government had set up for them, and then spread disease and famine and all that kind of stuff. And they just no longer existed. You do remember that, right? Right after the Civil War. Remember, it was the Civil War over slavery. And then right after the United States, the North won the Civil War, they exterminated all the Native Americans for human rights, right? You understand this, right? Again, all of your history is lies, all of it's BS. But what's terrible about this is the grave humanitarian crisis, which I'm praying for and praying about right now, which we should all do collectively, as there's billions of, believers out there worldwide, is that not only are there up to 2 million people displaced now, and there's over 33,000 dead, which, by the way, they've stopped counting in Gaza. See, when the media wants to hide something, they stop reporting on it. There's no statistics anymore. It stopped at 33,000 dead, and then they just dropped the story. Well, I'm sure that number's a little higher now, but it's not in the press. Why isn't it in the press? Because you only see what they want you to see in the press. Again, the media spigot and the propaganda campaign of your fake illusion reality that you're free here in the United States, which we know is a fraud, you're being told what to think. But what's terrible about this new attack on Rafah, which Israel will be launching probably a ground invasion within days, which is why they're collectively working with the CIA and U.S. intelligence agencies to spur these anti-Semitic, taboo topic protests on college universities to rally and build support, will cost more lives, more civilian casualties, an even greater genocide, and bare minimum 500,000 more displaced, but I would argue millions more. Now keep in mind, all of these people, remember how the U.S. government tells you they love human rights. All these people have been locked into a cage, so to speak. Egypt won't let them in. They've built tents and camps. These are concentration camps. They've locked them in like dogs, okay? And they're taking out innocent civilians using AI. And that was one of the most recent things we've learned, is that the elites have now rolled out artificial intelligence drones to fight their wars for them. Amazing, right? Absolutely amazing. So that is huge news. Also, what I am really concerned about is obviously China, Russia, and Iran are working their own game right now against the USA. They are working in coordination with each other. And I believe Iran, although a little bit silent now, is now working on asymmetric attacks well within, God forbid, let's pray against it, but I believe it's going to happen absolutely within the United States of America, which is also what the U.S. government, in my opinion, wants. Again, the more fear and the more propaganda and the more destabilizing effect that they can have by controlling the media narrative and the propaganda and the taboo topics of anti-Semitism and the college protests and all of that hogwash, the better for them. And again, these people are very smart. You just have to keep it in mind. I mean, these people are highly intelligent. It's why they're in power. Now, they don't comply, and I want you to keep this in mind. The people that make the rules don't comply. They only tell you to. See, they just make the rules and order and push people around, tell you what to think, tell you what to do. But are they in compliance? No. They don't comply to anyone but themselves. Just like a king doesn't comply. He makes the rules and the compliance that they tell you to comply to. And so this is very, very concerning. And my main message today is that a black swan event has now been confirmed in the United States of America. You do need to be rushing your money out of the banks immediately. The Dow Jones is now down about 620 points. It was down 670 at negative 666 earlier. We also are seeing a huge currency collapse. The yen has absolutely collapsed against the trash US dollar. So all fiat currencies are dog shit. Excuse my French, but let's just call it what it is. The trash US dollar worth nothing that you should light on fire because they're doing it for you with hyperinflation. You need to remove your money out of the banks, is such dog crap that the yen is actually declining against it. And so the yen, the Japanese yen, is at an all-time low against the dollar. And we're seeing the same thing with the British pound sterling against the euro, which I believe will begin to play out in the coming days. Notice the strongest of the turds are the ones that are semi-sovereign. The UK and the Brexit having exited the trash heap that is the Eurozone, the failed, worthless experiment that was Europe, that's bankrupt. Notice that the ones that are stronger turds floating in the toilet bowl, which you don't want to own at all, are the dollar and the pound sterling, which are semi-fake sovereign. So that's happening as well. I'm expecting that carry trade to continue. Also, what I think the markets aren't expecting, what people aren't expecting, they've been so conned and brainwashed by this Ponzi scheme scam that the crony elites, powers that were, have been running for such a long time. I mean, if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, like, take a look at this before my phone dies. The Dow Jones literally has Ponzi'd since 2008-09. It is literally, like, pull up a chart, one giant Ponzi scheme, figment of hot air, bubble, Ponzi bullcrap. Like, look at this, 2008-09, when the banks collapsed and all of them went to zero, and then they put in trillions of dollars of taxpayer bailouts. Since that time, there's been zero correction, but a hyperinflationary up-only Ponzi scheme hyper bubble fraud. And it's going to come to an end. Now, a lot of people have also asked me, Christopher, when does the Civil War come? Well, it's going to come now. And we'll pray against it, but we're already in it. It comes when the American people and the middle class is wiped out, like there currently is taking place, and they lose everything. The second their credit cards go away, the second the radical left can't get their soy latte frappuccino, the second they can't get those, and the second they can't, have their changes, I can't really tell you what that is here because we're not allowed to talk about it. The second that goes away and the credit card stops, America will collapse overnight. Pandemonium in the streets. It would be worse than the BLM protests. You would see the whole city light up behind me. 100%. 100%. And everyone around you, except for you tuning in because you have your money out of the banks, you've been buying crypto, Bitcoin, islandproject.com. You're in real assets with no bank debt. You're in a safe haven during World War III and economic collapse. But everyone else is broke. When you're out shopping and you're out at a mall or something, you're looking at all the people around you, they're all broke. And it's all operating on a fake credit card. When that comes to an end, people will panic. And we saw this in the 1929 Great Depression, and I believe this black swan will be far worse because you have the blueprint of World War III. You have a stock market, which is starting to collapse now. I warned you first. You see, the way it typically works for me, many of you have been tuned into me for like nearly almost 20 years now, is as I warn about things at first, I'm not you guys love me, you're my believers, and I love you back. But the public, the general Joe Blow public slob idiots, they typically, when they hear my message, at first mock. Then after mocking, they laugh at it, criticize it. They mock it. Over time, as my predictions become 100% factual truth, like social media, e-commerce, Bitcoin, the lockdowns, the face masks, the war in Ukraine, all the things which I've actually accurately 100% predicted, hyperinflation, fractional real estate, all of it. Then they start to become believers. Then they start saying things like, you're a genius. How did you know? And then after, coming on board, I always say, turn your critics and haters to followers and subscribers, and then turn your followers and subscribers to customers and then turn your happy customers into referrals. But then they ask me how to invest their money. So typically, this is why I have so many followers. You do realize I have millions of followers all over the world. People want to know how I got them. It's because as radical as my opinions have sounded, they've all come true. Hook, line, and sinker every single time over a long enough time horizon. And then people want to know, well, how did you know to buy Bitcoin under 1,000? Well, it was because, you know how I knew? Because the general public mocked it. That's how I knew. When you're being mocked, you're usually right. When everyone tells you you're an idiot, that's actually when you go all in on that investment. When they tell you it's a scam, that's when you buy. And that's what I heard from most cucks about Bitcoin, for example, which is why I went all in. I took all my money, called up the brokers, and was like, load up the bags. And now, Bitcoin trades at $1.6 trillion or whatever it is. And people think I'm a genius and then ask me how to invest their money. So I'm just kind of explaining to you how this works and how this is going to play out. Let's go to my Twitter X account right now at AMTV Media here for a minute. Again, it's so important that you exit the banks now before economic financial collapse. It is so important that you rush out of the stock market. You should sell all your stocks, in my opinion. People say, Christopher, should I sell my stocks? Yes, you should. You should roll over your IRAs. You should roll over your retirement accounts. You should get rid of everything while you still can. I mean, the last thing you want to be is the guy trying to exit Tesla stock when it's trading down 90%, which I believe it will be in the coming months. Now, keep in mind, after Tesla, and I was looking at the technicals earlier today, once Tesla stock breaks support around $120 per share, it's already down 40%. Its next support is about 20 to 30 bucks. And there are actual price targets on Wall Street right now for Tesla to hit 15. I've also told you this too. Jeff Bezos has said, this is a fact, that Elon Musk would be bankrupt and his company Tesla would be bankrupt in the future. And I agree, actually, with Jefe Bezos. I agree with him. Now, keep in mind that all of the oligarchical bailout elites, that get all the taxpayer funds, have already dumped and sold all their stock, which I've also been reporting on. Jamie Dimon, who's never sold any JP Morgan Chase bailout stock in his life, has now sold hundreds of millions over the past few months. So you'd expect, stocks to go down after that. That's why he's selling. Tim Cook of Apple Computers, another one of the bellwether 7, has been selling hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of stock. Bill Gates has been selling billions of dollars worth of stock, along with my boy Jefe Bezos. Tezos tell you Bezos. He's been selling billions and billions and billions of dollars of his stock. Now, of course, these are insiders that are smarter than the general public that dump before all of you do, before you're running for the exits and pandemonium panic hits the television stations and CNBC says, oh my gosh, we have another Bear Stearns. I mean, do you remember Jim Cramer? He told you to buy Bear Stearns while it was collapsing in 2008-09. These people are fraudulent pigs, is what they are. And they obviously do not have your best interests at heart. They're arguably there to hurt you, and they've intentionally designed the system to fail to introduce the new one. Make sure to follow me on X. So Israel will attack Rafah soon. Iran is positioning asymmetric attacks, I believe, God forbid, within the United States. That'll help complicate matters, but further the agenda. China, Iran, and Russia are all working together. Will hit the USA and Europe very, very hard. China, of course, is positioning for Taiwan. I'll comment on the upcoming U.S. selection. I do believe that Donald Trump will be selected as the next president because that feeds the narrative and it feeds the agenda. They want Trump in power during World War III and economic collapse. The Federal Reserve and central bank won't cut rates until after the collapse. A lot of people think it's going to be a soft landing. The scam on Wall Street is going to be a soft landing. It's not. They're going to allow stocks to collapse. They'll engineer it. They'll fund it down to zero, down only. Then they'll start cutting rates when America is bleeding. When the middle class investor has nothing left in the bank, that's when they'll start cutting rates for the elites to pump up the scam further. So the Ponzi's almost over. And I do believe Trump will be selected There is no election. It's just a selection. You need to understand this. It doesn't matter who you vote for. I mean, look who's really running America now. It's Benjamin Netanyahu. It's not Biden. I mean, when Bibi comes on camera, you better listen, because that's the president right there. And so that's happening. And they want Trump in power because Trump is going to negotiate the art of the deal on Taiwan after China takes it by force. And I want you to understand this. That's how politics work. After the elites have crushed through their agenda, like organizing these CIA protests on the college campuses and building their narrative, which is very, very convenient and feeds what they want, after it's all said and done, after they've logistically made all their moves and they've been successful, then they'll bring in the carrot or the puppet, whatever president that is, and they'll pretend like there's some kind of peace agreement or something. After millions have been slaughtered, after millions of Palestinians have been sent to camps, after millions of drones funded by the U.S. government and U.S. taxpayers take out innocent civilians, you know, for every one Hamas fighter, 10 will die. 10 innocent civilians. Throw a couple kids and young women in there too. Pregnant women as well. Then they'll put Trump in. He'll negotiate the art of the deal peace agreement. And all of this is leading up. I really want you to understand this. At the end of the day, all of this leads to their 2030 agenda, which they're going to win. And they've already pulled off. Like, I'm sorry to say it. We know God wins. We know Jesus Christ is coming back. We know we spiritually win. But the elites will pull off their 2030 agenda. They already have pulled it off. They already won. The second the lockdowns hit and Americans complied, you gave up all of your sovereignty, all of your freedom forever. You assured economic warfare. You assured World War III. You assured hyperinflation, and you assured BlackRock and these too big to fail companies would dominate you and your children in the future and destroy your life. I was even watching some hockey playoffs last night. I've been enjoying it. Sometimes it just gets my mind off politics. And so I'm watching hockey, and I'm watching all these commercials for medication from the big pharma companies. And every single one of them is telling me how I can die, get a blood clot, have a heart attack, have a stroke, heart palpitations, skin rashes all over my genitals by taking like a simple pill of Ozempic, the newest, latest like weight loss drug. Or like acne cream, they tell me I could have a heart attack if I take it from one of the big pharma companies, and then they list all the side effects, all the poisonous side effects that it potentially has, all the legal liability. It's like this massive disclaimer, like you might piss your pants, you might have incontinence, you might have bloody diarrhea, you might have a genital rash and herpes, you could have a brain aneurysm at any moment, Christopher. You could also develop seismic tumor-sized cancers. The list goes on and on. And in addition to that, you may have a headache, and your girlfriend might dump you. They go through the long laundry list, and I'm thinking to myself, this is how I know America's cucked. And this is how I know most people haven't really awoken yet. Is it still, after this thing, people still won't talk about it, and they're not asking any questions while they tune into Hunger Games and like the latest sporting event, and they tell you how you can die from every other single medication in existence, but not this thing. Because you know what they did, ladies and gentlemen? They've whitewashed it for like 100 years. They're not going to allow any of that information to come out until after you're dead. That's what they've done. They're brilliant. These people are brilliant. And again, it proves the point that you have no rights. You have no liberty in America. You have zero freedom. It's all one giant con. And I'll give you another point. And this is why you need to get rich. This is why you need to join the digital Noah's Ark. This is why you need to get your money out of the banks to save yourself, to get out, to roll over your IRAs and your financial accounts today. And call my dad, Papa John, 808-442-2934. Case in point, TikTok. U.S. government says TikTok is dangerous. They say it's dangerous, Christopher. TikTok. We got to ban TikTok. Really? Why? Well, the reason they want to ban TikTok is the U.S. spy agencies and U.S. intelligence and the U.S. government doesn't control TikTok like they do Amazon, Google, Tesla, Starlink, SpaceX. The list goes on and on and on. You do realize Elon Musk has provided back doors to surveil all you and your children in every car that you drive that's his. He can unlock and lock your doors, lock you right in, drive you straight off a cliff. He's facing massive lawsuits for driving a well-known Google executive right into a brick wall. I don't know if you've read that one. Massive lawsuit. His pedals, controlled by AI on the Cybertruck are sticking. And that way you can just fly right off the mountain here. I just want you to keep this in mind. Elon Musk, the freedom fighter, has opened back doors for your total totalitarian surveillance to the DOD and the Pentagon and all the spy agencies, the NSA, the CIA. Same with all these guys. I joke about my boy, Jefe Bezos, Bezos. But it's the same thing for all of these people. They're working against you. These people are, deep state assets, and that's all they are. And the only reason the US government needs to ban TikTok is because China controls TikTok. And the whole point is, if they think TikTok is dangerous, so dangerous, they've got to go to war with it. Imagine how dangerous these billionaires that control these oligarchical companies here in America are, and how dangerous their platforms are. Very, very dangerous. If you're going to ban TikTok, then you should ban every form of social media tracking and surveillance system currently available today. And again, people think I'm joking about this, but I know people, they just love that cuck Musk. They just love him so much, push this, surveils you, takes taxpayer money, all the lies, fake space, rockets blow up, burn carbon emissions, nothing's getting cleaner. Okay, he's not emitting less CO2. This guy flies his Learjet more than any other person on planet Earth. His rockets blow more dirty coal fuel, more disgusting polluted air than anything else in the world. All these billionaires use more CO2, dirty, carbon polluting, emitting bullcrap than you do in an entire 20 lifetimes. And they sell you the lies. Again, those rockets aren't electric, guys. They're dirty trash, coal, fossil fuel, bullcrap. And they blow smoke in the air. Same thing with the satellites. Create massive pollution. Look at it behind me. Now, I've been in Phoenix, out here in Scottsdale for, a couple generations. It's never been more polluted. It's never been more disgusting. I get boogers in my nose. When I come into town, my nose starts bleeding. Over the last couple days, everyone in my family's had nosebleeds running out of their nose because it's such a dirty, toxic wasteland disease that the general population is. And see, what they've done is they've screwed up their other states like California so bad, where there's a bunch of homeless people injected on the streets having seizures with the latest heroin that they've injected and the latest socialist, liberalist bullcrap policies, that then they come and infect all the good states, all the conservative redneck states, all the Republican states like Arizona, and they infect it with their own disease. And then they drive with their California license plates all over the place. Nothing against California. I mean, there's good people there. I'm originally from California. But I mean, again, I stand for zero that California politics represent, which is why my family left 30 freaking years ago, got the hell out of there as quickly as we could. Again, it's just amazing, just the disease that the human population truly is, and how they just don't get it. It really pisses me off. All right, let's see here. I have a new pinned tweet. This is a new pinned tweet. This will be famous next year, and I'm going to read it to you on X. 1929 stock market collapse imminent. You were warned. Save and bookmark this tweet. It'll be famous next year, and I'm expecting to pin that for the remaining of 2024 and 25. Kind of like I did a couple years ago. I said, you'll never get this opportunity again with Bitcoin. It's my current pin. It's got hundreds of retweets and likes. And basically, I told everybody to buy Bitcoin at 16,000. I also told everyone to buy at 3,500. Well, now it's trading at 63,000, 65K. It's been in that range over the last couple weeks and months. And by the way, Bitcoin will trade at 150K this year. So expect another clean 2 to 3x and at least a double minimum on your money. As the United States sinks, as America bleeds, as it collapses, as it spends its worthless taxpayer dollars for Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, and displacing people and, throwing them into camps. And how would you like it, America? How would you like it if Vladimir Putin came to the United States and just started throwing you in white tent camps and said, you know what? I think this territory's mine now. I mean, that's what Israel's doing. It's absolutely what they're doing. And again, we've seen it time immemorial throughout history. It's not just Israel. It's every warfaring country and civilization ad nauseum, time immemorial. And what God does, he eventually destroys the civilization. He punishes people. And the good news is, the holy book news is, he's coming back very soon. And this time he comes with vengeance, wrath, and fire. There will be no flood. There will just be a massive fire. I'm also thinking about coming out with a new book titled Cuck Wars, The End of the Republic. In stores soon. Let me know if you'd like to purchase that. And like I said, the Ponzi scheme is coming to an absolute end. Check this out. I don't know if you can see this, but the Japanese yen has now literally gone to zero against Bitcoin. You see that? The Japanese yen, this is not like BS. The Japanese yen has literally gone to zero against Bitcoin. That means if you're holding yen, you have no money left. But people like me and you that own Bitcoin are rich now. Guess what fiat trash dog crap currency is next? The US dollar. Which is why you need to get your money out of the banks now. Again, the play is very simple right here. You want to get into real assets. You want to own real property, which I designed this years in advance because I already knew all this was happening. I already knew I'd be standing here in this chair overlooking an entire city telling you this exact message years ago. I already knew that blockchain was the future. I already knew Bitcoin was going to trade well above 150K, which it will this year. It'll trade at 150, 250K. I already knew Bitcoin was going to skyrocket to 60, almost 70K. Well, we went a little bit above 70K, I believe, here recently. I knew that was going to happen when Bitcoin was trading at 16K. Like, none of this is new news. I knew Russia would retaliate in Ukraine before the alleged invasion. I knew that was the proxy for World War III. I told you for over 10 years. I know that China will attack Taiwan. That's just obvious. And I also know that the U.S. stock market Ponzi scheme will collapse because the elites have sold, and now that they're out, they will wreck you. And then when everyone's wrecked, that's when they'll start cutting rates. And they'll say, well, we kind of let some air out of the bubble. This is a good thing. Everything's a scam and it's all a fraud. The central bank, by fraudulently managing interest rates and creating debt, is basically just one giant fraud. Like, imagine if you could do that. Imagine if you just printed your own currency for your own company. You just did that. And then you managed fiscal policy and monetary policy, and you could change rates and spending and cost of debt. And then while charging the public usury rates for the debt, you gave it to all your friends for free. That's what the central bank does. They give all the money for free to the big banks, and then they bang you 29% APY on your credit cards while rates are at zero. And then when they fail, they get free money. It's absolutely hilarious. It's hilarious that Americans haven't rioted, honestly. Like, it always blows my mind that the general population, like, hasn't, God forbid, rioted at this point. Like, it's so bizarre to me that they're that compliant. Also, I did want to comment, another deep state plant and fake Christian, Kanye West. Remember, he was the first person to introduce the anti-Semitism narrative on the Alex Jones show, another deep state plant. He was the first to introduce that. Remember, he wore a black mask. And I told you that. He was introducing that sentiment and that narrative because there was an agenda in Israel. And they needed to create a media narrative. You do realize that narrative being created by these plants will only later be used to attack you. It's the same thing with Trump. Even if Trump's trying to do the right things, let's just say everything he's done is right, even though I disagree with a lot of it, and some of it I do agree with. Definitely disagree with that one, right? Which I called him out. I mean, he went down like 1,000 points. He went from like a 10 to a 1 the second he rolled that out and said to take that. It was like, okay, you're a fraud. You're a deep state fraud plant, like, essentially. And even though he's better for the political office, I still believe that to be the truth. But the point is, they create a narrative that, the January 6th narrative, that Republicans are the enemy, Christians are the enemy, that they're violent. You know, the terrible day of January 6th, now the anti-Semitism card. They're only going to use that to oppress you and attack you and make an example of you in the future. And Trump's helping that. All these people help that. Alex Jones, Kanye West, all of them. And by the way, he's starting a porn company. So for those of you, you know, hey, he's a good Christian, allegedly, unless he comes out and says this is not the case. I mean, he has his girlfriend parade around with no clothes on. So, I mean, I'm sorry, guys. Like, Donald Trump never professed God or Christianity at all until he was running for politics and trying to sway the Bible Belt to vote for him. That's just reality. The only thing I ever heard about Trump was supermodels, sex, money, power, and golden toilets prior to him running for president of the United States. So don't kid yourself. This guy wasn't Bible thumping earlier on. It was only recently. All of this, guys, all the mainstream figures, everyone you tune into, everyone that's big, from Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Hi guys, I'm Ben Shapiro. I'm Ben Shapiro. I know no critical thinking at all. I'm gonna fire Candace on. I'm gonna fire Candace on. We must back Israel 100% at all costs. My name is Ben Shapiro. I'm pro-genocide. I'm pro-genocide. I'm funded by the Republican right, the Heritage Foundation. And I'm so conservative that I also told everybody to take this thing in their arms. I told everybody, because my name is Ben Shapiro and I'm funded by the Republican Party and the Israeli board of directors. And so I'm gonna tell you to do this.
But all of them, from Ben Shapiro to Candace Owens, I know you're not going to want to hear this, to Dan Bongino, all of them, they are all vacuum plants by the deep state and by both manufactured creations of the fake political scam that makes up your fake reality illusion. Again, once you wake up to this, the real key to your freedom and self-empowerment is the realization that everything around you is a fraud. People ask me all the time, Christopher, how do you get rich? How do you make money? You do the same thing those are in power are doing for yourself. You create your own currency. Bitcoin is its own currency created by technologists. They're like, you know what? We'll just create it out of thin air. It's the same thing that the criminal Federal Reserve central bank fraudulent Ponzi scheme scam does. And that's why there's thousands of cryptocurrencies now, because they've just been created out of thin air. Now they have market valuations. There's an abundant amount of money. It's abundant. It's not limited or fixed. Money is abundant. And now the obvious play to level this up even further, and notice a lot of these YouTubers too now, people that were talking trash on Bitcoin have suddenly released their courses on Bitcoin. They're like, yeah, I'll teach you how to buy Bitcoin now. Yeah, like, now it's too late, bro. Like, seriously, it's not too late to buy crypto and to learn about it or anything like that. But you're noticing everyone on board now, which tells me they're all behind light years from what we're doing. Like, again, I'm always 10 to 20 years ahead of everybody else. Real assets, fractional real estate with no bank debt, in the best beach and oceanfront locations in the world, and Maui and Oahu, tokenized on a multi-billion-dollar blockchain, a real-world asset on a blockchain, is now the future. It will be the #1 discussed technology advancement of 2024 and 25, which is why all my members are getting rich. I will make all my members rich, and it's why you need to onboard now. In addition to protecting your wealth outside of the collapsing banks and the fraudulent stock market and, you know, bank runs and another 1929 black swan, which I believe is imminent. And people think I'm joking sometimes. They think I'm joking, like, oh, it's not gonna crash. Tesla stock could never crash. Elon Musk is invincible, Chris. He's an invincible cuck. No, it's going to zero. You sell that crap down to a turd bucket, which is why he's trying to reinvent his company from a car company that's failing to, oh, now it's AI. It's an AI company. All of it's lies. Guys, Chat GPT sucks. Have you ever used it? It sucks balls. It doesn't do anything. Can you ask Chat GPT how to make money? Can you ask Chat GPT how to score a winning investment? No. It'll tell you no. It'll tell you no, sorry, I can't give you that information. Does Chat GPT solve a cure for cancer? Hell no. Does Chat GPT solve poverty in the United States of America? Nope. Does it end the bloody wars in Israel and Gaza? Is it smart enough to establish world peace? No, of course not. Can it cure male pattern baldness for my boy, Jefe Bezos? No. Again, it's all cucked lies. And again, all ChatGPT is like a calculator. It leverages human intelligence, and that's it. It does nothing else. It does nothing else of value. When people use ChatGPT, I think they're idiots. I honestly can tell if you've used ChatGPT. Like, people will like write me a report or a memo, or they're like craft a newsletter, and I'm like, trash it, that's ChatGPT, it's dog crap. Because again, people are lazy and they're weak, and now they want to rely on some fake artificial intelligence to live their lives. Well, you're going to be absolutely destroyed by people like me and members like you and subscribers like you tuning in that actually use their human intelligence. And it's why we're rich and you're not. The only people you're making rich by using ChatGPT is Sam Altman, another deep state fraudulent asset who came from the PayPal mafia, along with Musk, Thiel, and everyone else. You ain't gonna get rich. They will. And that's how it works. And yes, I am Johnny Bravo. Yeah, just like Amazon. I mean, Amazon never turned a profit until it established CIA contracts with the Pentagon. Go look it up. Just right now, Google, if you're a younger subscriber out there and maybe you've never heard this before, just go look up Amazon CIA. You'll pull up an article from the Atlantic. I have it that much imprinted in my memory where it tells you about how Jeff Bezos scored a massive hundreds of millions of dollars contract with the CIA as a back door. Because again, you're being surveilled. You do realize this. Teslas surveil you. Your phones surveil you. Remember when that was a conspiracy theory? Oh, you're radical if you say that you're being surveilled. Now they admit it and say it's a good thing. Just like spraying the weather, which they're doing now as well. That's why the weather is, even my own kids were asking me like, Daddy, why are they blocking out the sun? It's like, I don't even know how to answer. Well, kids, they're just really evil people. I mean, that's pretty much what I tell them. They're like, why are these people locking people in their homes, Daddy? I'm like, because these people are scum, children. Let's open the Bible today and read about the book of Genesis. That's basically how I even teach my own children. All my children, all of my friends' children, we're all homeschooled. We have this vast network in Hawaii. We're literally completely outside of the system, preparing for collapse. And then every time something bad happens, the children look at us adults and they're like, why are these evil people doing this, Daddy? And I'm like, these people are scum. But rest assured, child, your daddy is the general and he's fighting back with islandproject.com. I mean, seriously. And again, this is where I want to motivate you guys to be the solution, to be the actual solution. Do it for your own self-interest. Do it for your own selfish profit motive. You want to get rich? You want to be a 1000x baller? You want to drive the Lambo or the Rolls Royce? You want to be the huge guy that gives millions of dollars in charity to your church? You want to go serve? Invest in us. Don't do it just because you think it's a good thing. Do it because you want to get rich. Do it for both reasons. Do it for self-interest. I mean, that's why people buy the stock market. They're like, well, I'm going to get rich if I own Elon Musk's Tesla. That's why people are buying Bitcoin, because they're greedy. They want to get rich. So I'm telling you, get rich, be a baller. One thing that Andrew Tate does right, but he's also a plant, by the way. His dad worked for the CIA. His dad was a Central Intelligence Agency linguist. Go look it up. Alex Jones' family, all FBI agents. Like, again, guys, you've been fooled. You've been cucked by both parties, by a vast intelligence CIA operation on every level of a global technological sovereign overthrow of the once great country of the United States of America. There are very few real people out there like me left. I am John Connor, or Johnny Bravo. That is the truth. Man, I haven't had coffee in a while, man. It's perking me up this morning. I hit my head the other day, dude. I was laying down and hit the back of my head. Had a little bruise. I was having trouble sleeping last night. I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm all fired up today. Anyways, it's a beautiful view out. Gives you an idea of some of the beautiful properties out here in, in AZ Booyah. Got some beautiful Red Rock views. You can see downtown, all of the planes coming in. But I have noticed, again, the pollution is just absolutely terrible. All right, what else can I tell you guys here as we close? Again, I want to welcome aboard all of our new amazing members. I have a really great call with Linda coming up. She just onboarded 80 units to islandproject.com. She's from North Carolina. I'm looking forward to that later this afternoon, Linda. It is an honor to serve you, moving your money out of the banks. I did mention we have several new people that have onboarded from Israel. Thank you so much for your support. Again, we stand with the Israeli people and all of the craziness that you're going through right now. And we're praying for all of you. But we certainly, have our issue with these politicians that I don't think can be trusted. I mean, again, I just remind you, there's a difference between me criticizing politicians and the political BS and then the people. Overall, most people are pretty good. Most people want to live happy lives. They want to be free. And they're far too trusting of their government officials to really, and too busy working and trying to provide for their family to really be, studying this kind of stuff on a daily basis like I do. And so I just ask everybody to keep that in mind. We did onboard a new gentleman from Scotland as well. And we've got members from almost, it's over 12 countries now. Almost every state in the United States of America. Texas is our biggest state, probably because that's where most per capita patriots exist. So we have tons of beautiful, amazing, strong men and women, Christian believers from Texas. And then you saw we've got brand new members as well from the Pacific Northwest. The Quran family just came up with 500 units. As a part of islandproject.com, they just visited my father out in Oahu, stayed, I believe, for about a week or so at the property that they own, along with us, 100% equity ownership at islandproject.com, making cash flows and large capital gains potential. In addition to that, being tokenized on a world-class 1000x blockchain, of which all my members will get founders rate tokens of that blockchain launch in our massive liquidity event. And I'm super bullish that, I'm super bullish crypto. The good thing is, as stocks collapse, as we enter a 1929 bloodbath, that'll be about the time I'll tokenize. I launched Island Project during a bear market, when Bitcoin was trading at 16K and everyone said it was going to zero. That's when I launched, because that was actually the most bullish time to launch. You always want to launch and develop when everyone thinks it's going to zero and no one wants in. And then you build. So you always want to launch like into the bear, and you always want to buy low and sell high. It's very commonsensical, but it's amazing how many people don't want to do this. They'll wait until Bitcoin hits 150K, go all in, and then tell me, well, Christopher, Bitcoin just crashed 30%. Yeah, that's because it's already up 5x since when I first recommended it. Diamond nuts, guys. You've got to go against the trends. Be the counter trend in your own life. I'll just give another reminder too. Not a single Epstein client list member has been prosecuted. Not one. So all of the dirty politicians, all of the dirty bankers funding it, like Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan Chase, funded the Epstein trafficking ring. None of these people have been prosecuted. None have gone to jail. Prince Andrew, right across the pond. I mean, we have to say they're accusations, but he was just basically banging underage girls and got away with it. Nothing's happened. Still, there's massive things that we can't even talk about regarding, children. I'll just leave it at that. None of it's been solved. All the elites have gotten away with it. And honestly, again, this is when the American people have to look themselves in the mirror. It's because of your compliance that's allowed it. It's because you don't fight back and you do what you're told that these people can do whatever they want, and they can do these egregious criminal acts and just basically destroy human life. And these people are evil. They're working for Satan. Bottom line is, and we need to pray, there's so much spiritual warfare right now. I'm not even joking. I see we got 1,000 users right now. I'm not even joking. Like daily, I am praying ceaselessly. And you know what I'm praying? Every single day, even I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, especially recently, and I'm just praying every day. I'm just praying like, like I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Jesus Christ. I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of the blood of the Lamb. I rebuke you in the name of the Lord. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, who sacrificed himself on the cross. And I just repeat that message. And that's one thing, these demons can't stand it. They absolutely can't stand it. So just to motivate you, if you feel like you're being targeted or spiritually attacked, you call on the name of Jesus Christ the King and his blood, and they will just run for the exits. It's a beautiful thing, but we need to be calling for that, because now that they've opened up CERN and all these demonic portals, we can feel it. We all know. They've opened up these portals. The demons are coming in now because they're preparing for the rise of the Antichrist, right? They've got Musk there, who's, one of the horns, I believe. And, he's got the chip rolling out. You've got the politician, right? So you've got the multi-pronged rise of the Antichrist and Satan right now. CERN and the solar eclipse opened up what many people believe, and I actually think it's true. They've opened up portals. The demons are now rushing down from the ground. It's why Elon Musk has his boring company. He wants to dig as close to hell as possible to open. It's why CERN is underground. CERN is underground because it's a portal that opens up demonic entities that then feed on the soul and the energy of good people like you tuning in. David Icke always called it the demiurge, or the archons, that feed off the souls and then suck the blood with its tentacles off of the people by keeping them in a low vibrational state. And that's a part of the spiritual warfare, just like people are possessed. It's because the demons feed, whether or not you call them demiurge or archons or Satan or the evil one or whatever, the powerful forces or the dark forces or whatever you want to call, they feed off death and destruction and darkness and blood and sorrow, and they feed off death and cancer and disease and side effects. That's what they feed off of. And most importantly, they feed off your fear. And you must understand this. These demonic entities feed off your fear. So the quickest way and your only hope for salvation is you call on the name and the blood of Jesus, and they're absolutely destroyed. And I also want you to really think about how powerful you are with billions of Christians worldwide and believers in God simply by calling on Christ himself. You do realize we change things. You do realize that this is a miracle. The fact that we've raised $33.5 million in worthless cash and have now deployed it into properties like this in a very short period of time is a freaking miracle. Like, I don't even give myself credit for it. I know God is the reason for it. I hear that all the time. He told me to build the digital Noah's Ark. So I'm not surprised by my members' amazing success because it's always been ordained by God. I'm just a servant. I'm just the operator building that ark along with all of you and all of our amazing members and all of our subscribers here today that have built this. It's not of this world, even though it's in the world. And it's cool too, because we're helping all of you prepare during these trying economic times of spiritual warfare and spiritual attacks and dollar collapse. And it's really a lifeboat and an insurance policy for believers. And we have non-believers alike. We have members from all faiths. I show you every single day all the amazing members from all different walks of life. And isn't that beautiful that we all want the same things, that we're all doing good in the world? Like, isn't that dope to be standing up for truth, to be calling out these evil satanic people on a daily basis, to changing people's lives? I find it amazing, and I love empowering people. I love making them rich, and I love giving people confidence. I love changing people's mindset into the 1000x, where they realize that they can do anything and that everything in life is in abundance and energy. That's all it is. Again, Christ's power is unlimited through all of you. So for motivation too, I want, for those of you in a negative mindset, stop thinking about your mistakes that you've made. Stop thinking about the things you've done wrong. Stop thinking about the things that aren't perfect about you. And realize God made you in his perfect image. And he made you for a reason. as flawed as that is. And so, you know, have faith in him and actually acknowledge that you aren't perfect and you can improve and you can get better. And you absolutely can have everything that you want, honestly. And you can create anything that you want or anything that you need simply by that mindset, simply by understanding that to be a fundamental, hardcore fact truth, which again, I'm living proof of that because my life, frankly, is a miracle. You know, people have told me for years that I shouldn't be able to do what I do. They told me social media wouldn't last. You couldn't make any money. They told me Bitcoin was a scam. They told me blockchain wouldn't last. I mean, everything that the world has said wouldn't work has. And that's the other reason why you need to be taking risks right now. You should invest your first 30 units today, which is really riskless in my opinion, because there's capital protection. There's no bank debt. When you own real estate and you buy into islandproject.com today, you own a non-bank debt, real, true, 100% equity ownership of the entire portfolio that can never go to zero. There's always an appraised value. Crypto can go to zero, but not this. It only goes up over the long haul because it's a real asset. Even with the banks collapsing, even with bank runs, stock market collapse, the only thing that'll be worth its salt is this. And it's other real assets like gold and silver and land, and real estate with cash flows. It's been designed for this very reason. So I don't want anyone to be surprised. I don't want any of you to be surprised when this hits, when this black swan takes off. Now, when the black swan hits, when the 1929, 1987 stock market calamity hits, when the panic horn starts sirening, when CNBC starts panicking, when you see Jim Cramer have a heart attack, God forbid, on camera, and stroking out with the latest collapsing stock, when Elon Musk's Tesla stock sinks under 100, on its way to zero, and then its next support level like $20 to $30, don't be like you weren't warned. Okay, look at how complacent people are. If you tell people that the stock market's going to crash right now, they'll tell you you're nuts, which tells us we're right, and it absolutely will, because people don't think it will. People are gambling their life savings in the stock market right now, and they're about to lose everything. Same thing in a bank. You got your money in a bank, you've gambled your entire savings account to zero. Even if inflation is just 20% a year in real terms, which I believe it is. Look at food prices and housing and rents and all these things going up, 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 up. You're broke in 5 years or less. You've lost all your money in 5 years to inflation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some breakfast. Please like and share. This is a critical update. I'm going to have some more fun content coming as well. And things are heating up a lot with Trump. Again, this will rocket him to the selection. And he will be elected, I believe. He's going to do the art of the deal on Taiwan after it's taken over by China. It'll be too late then, but he'll just negotiate peace after most of Gaza and Rafah is completely destroyed, after the agenda has been completed. And seeing if there's anything else we're missing here. I don't really think so. Keep your eye on these university protests. This is one big Arab Spring type CIA crafted event to do what? Create their own opposition, to control their own narrative, to further their own agenda. It's Hegelian dialectic. Again, these university students aren't smart enough to really be protesting. They're being engineered and conned and manufactured and encouraged to protest is what is happening. That's why Benjamin Netanyahu came on camera, the president of the United States basically, yesterday and said, we have not seen these types of anti-Semitic attacks and protests since the 1930s. And that's all lies. I mean, most Americans are not anti-Semitic. We love the Israeli people, and all of that is manufactured BS. And most people are good people. And just like most conservatives are good people, Democrats, we might have something else to say about them. But in general, you know what I'm saying. Most people are good people. They're not even that politically involved. It's the media that's created the Civil War, which is why they put out that movie a couple weeks ago, which I told you that they did. It's why the Obamas, movie producers, put out the end of days movie, Leave the World Behind, which, you know, Tesla started driving into people and, you know, taking them all out, which is going to happen. And the more the American cucks remove their own freedom willfully and allow themselves to be surveilled and have their doors locked in their Tesla remotely. I mean, you can change the speed of a Tesla, Elon Musk can, by a push button. He pushes a button wherever he is, or he has an engineer do it, and they can change how fast your car can go. They can change what it drives into or the cliff it drives over. They can lock you in your car like Minority Report and take you straight to jail. So in the future, you might be framed and your doors will lock and you'll just go straight to the courthouse in your Tesla. I mean, again, guys, the freedom that people are giving up is just incredible. Not to mention what happens is they biologically integrate people with this thing, which is what Elon Musk is also doing, which will be hacked, attacked, catch fire, malfunction. You'll never get the upgrades that the elites will get. They're only using that. The only people taking Neuralink chips will be the slave class. And you must understand this. They're going to sell the opposite, though. They'll tell you that the Neuralink chip will make you superhuman. That's how they'll sell it. It'll make you superhuman and super intelligent. But that actually means slave. That's why there's an S in front of them, superhuman, super intelligent. No, it really means slave class. So you remember that. It's coming in the future. Next couple of years, they're going to start rolling this out, just like the latest iPhone. You know, just like people need the latest gadget. They'll tell you you'll be able to learn new languages, you'll learn martial arts, you'll be able to do compute. ChatGPT will just work in your head. They'll tell you that you'll make more money. They'll tell you that the devices will prevent cancer. They'll sell it in a positive light too. They'll say, oh, you'll never get cancer as long as you take Elon Musk, deep state, DOD, microchip, mark of the beast. Then you won't be able to buy or sell without it. You'll be controlled. Your brain will be hacked. You'll lose your soul. The list goes on and on. So it's not like they're going to come to market and be like, get the new slave chip, the new mark of the beast chip. No, they're going to be like, everyone's doing it. Hollywood loves it. Musk took it. Everyone has it. Bezos loves it. Why wouldn't you take this thing? It's amazing. And you'll be rich and sexy and you'll get six-pack abs and it can never be better. And the American cucks will do what they usually do. And to top it all off, they'll pay for their own enslavement. And that's actually kind of the beauty of it. From Elon Musk's and the powers that be perspective, is they know, get out of here, they know that the American people will actually pay for their own slavery. So when the mark of the beast officially rolls out, they call it super AI, whatever it is, XYZ, super AI, or whatever it is, the super AI chip. They won't call it a chip because that sounds like the mark of the beast. It'll be the super AI blah, blah, blah. I don't know, whatever it is. And they'll roll it out and they'll be like, oh yeah, there's different price points. There's for $1,500.99 a year on your subscription model, you can get the latest software update from Elon Musk. It'll be amazing. Your microchip will even connect to your Tesla cucked car, and it'll open the door to your house. It'll even help you orgasm even more when you're making love to your wife. And if you go up to the next level, it'll unlock other features. And then you go higher up, it'll unlock other features. And that's how they'll sell it. And the American people love it, and the Neuralink stock will be trading at new all-time highs, and you know, Elon Musk will be sitting there in his Satan costume there, just being like, I'm the devil. Yes, I am the Antichrist. Everyone's going to be like, we love him. We love him. And again, once you take the chip, it's all over. It's not like you're going to be able to think for yourself. Like, you don't really think you're going to be able to think for yourself. Once you've given over your brain sovereignty to Elon Musk, I mean, if I was him, if I was him, and I was installing microchips in everyone's heads, and then I owned and controlled, along with the government, backdoors, all of your Tesla cars, like, I would literally run you ads 24/7. Like, seriously, 24/7 while you were sleeping, I'd be like, hey guys, Christopher Greene here. You know, for 12 easy payments of $1999.99. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to be advertised to, you're going to be cucked to oblivion. What's going to suck about it, once the chip's in there, you won't be able to take it out. because they've already hardwired and neuralaced into your cerebral cortex and your amygdala. There's also going to be these little wires that are going to hit, the pleasure center in your brain too. So you're going to have all these obese people, and they're going to be running around in like these little like go-karts, like we've seen in the cartoons, and they'll just be pressing a button like Pavlov's dog, like, and then 20 minutes later when it wears off, that's what they're going to do. I think South Park did a episode on that, and it's it's so freaking true. All right, guys, we're going to have more fun too, because what's going on in the world is so dark. So why don't we mix it up? I think we're going to start having some fun. I'm going to do some fun content. Maybe I'll take you guys out like in a supercar or something, and let's go for an adventure. I'm going to be doing some hiking, even though I didn't sleep too well last night. And you see, I like being up high like this. And the reason is I can kind of look at all the general populations from below and just kind of evaluate the situation. It gives me perspective. It's like I have my own eye in the sky. It's pretty cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, islandproject.com. We are the truth of the digital Noah's Ark. We are the 1000x blockchain. Move your money out of the banks now. Every day that the stock market collapses further, you need to be aggressively liquidating your bank accounts, moving your money and rolling over your retirement funds today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, let's just see how far down it's trading now. About 600 points. Heads for the biggest drop of the year. Who told you that? Who told you that a stock market crash was imminent? This guy. Who told you that the Tesla 40% decline was a canary in the coal mine? This guy. Who told you that the bellwether significant 7 were about to nosedive, like Meta stock? This dude right here. Who told you real assets will be the most valuable assets in the world? This guy right here. Who told you that Maui Booyah is the #1 investment in the world, and now property values have tripled since 2020? This guy. Who told you hyperinflation was imminent, and now we're in hyperinflation? This guy. Who told you to buy Bitcoin under 1,000? This guy. Now it's trading at 1.5 trillion or something market cap at like 63K. This guy. Again, guys, don't wait to make your move. Get in early as a founder. Profit from what we're doing. Make money by getting your money out of the banks. Have peace of mind knowing you're in control of your retirement accounts, knowing that you own a part of the rock. Even for you youngsters out there, say you're in your 20s, you've saved up 100K and you don't know what to do with it. Don't put it in a bank. You can't afford a house. I know a lot of you, for example, and you're working your butts off and you got your cash flows growing. I coach you guys all the time. What do I tell you? As you're building up your nest egg to say, buy your house, buy a freaking house with us now, and buy a real portfolio now. Buy fractionally owned beachfront homes, and then later take profits and buy your actual home with a part of those profits. Don't just keep your money in cash doing nothing and not working for you. You want to deploy those assets into the place now. Buy an actual home that you can actually use based on the units owned, and there's economy around. And that is also being tokenized in the #1 technology in the world with unlimited upside. Again, all cryptos, including ours, are built the same way the central bank built theirs, except it's better. It's fixed, it's deflationary, and it's backed by a real asset with no bank debt. The US dollar is fraudulent, a scam, worthless, dog crap trash, which isn't worth anything, just like the Japanese yen is trading 0 against Bitcoin right now. And soon the US dollar is trading 0 against Bitcoin. So you want to deploy your assets into investments that make you money while you sleep. A couple years from now, what's the $33.5 million portfolio worth? 100 million. Easy. It just only goes up. And keep in mind, these aren't just regular properties. They're beachfront properties. They're next door neighbors to Jefe Bezos and Oprah Winfrey and The Rock and Peter Thiel and Sam Altman. They're those properties. They're the Palm Beach estates that sell for $100+ million. And soon, I believe many of our properties will sell for $100 million plus in Maui Booyah individually in my lifetime. My dad reminds me of this all the time, Papa John. He's like, Christopher, you will be in charge. And he tells me I already am. But he says, your portfolio will be worth, even when I'm long gone, son, it'll be worth over $1 billion in your lifetime. He's like, you better educate these kids, Austin and the rest of my children, as along with the rest of our team, because we're going to be running this for the rest of our lives. I mean, it is really that cool. And, shout out to my father, Papa John. You guys know how special he is. What an amazing father and businessman, and huge success my dad is. But number one thing I respect in him is just his faith and his love for God and his love for family. But like, my dad knows. He knows what's coming, just like I do, just like you guys do. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Man, this coffee habit is really perking me up today. Yeah, I probably should do a cameo. I could just do 1000x, 1000 freaking X memes and stuff. I need to do more memes. I really do. I need to do more memes. I have been playing more golf lately too. I got my son a brand new set of golf clubs. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to say. I don't know. I love these conversations with you guys. I love what I do. This is so much fun. People are like, Christopher, you're insane. You've been doing this for like 20 years now. Don't you ever get tired of this? No, not really. No, dude. Like I've said before, and I said this in my 20s, that I would never retire. I would reverse retire, and I would just get rich doing something I loved, and then I would just do it forever. And then I would just choose, what I want to do. Like, I think it's cool. Like, retirement's cool from the standpoint of having options. Like, maybe when you're 90 years old, you want to slow down a little bit. But I think the minute you do nothing is when you actually die. Like, the minute you don't have a purpose is when you have nothing left. You see this with family members when their family member or their husband or wife dies, and then they die quickly after because it's their partner and they have like nothing else to live for. I believe that you should always have something to live for. And if you're alive, you should be purposefully driven to an actual purpose. You should be building something bigger than yourself. You should be using your power and glorifying God into something that's bigger than yourself, more powerful than yourself. Right here, I mean, this is what God chose for me personally. It was the Island Project. And for you, that might be something completely different. Your purpose might be building another business. Your purpose might be being a great father. Your purpose might be being a great teacher. Your purpose might be not complying. Your purpose might just be being a pastor. Your purpose might be, it could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. And I'm 77 minutes in, and I just have a feeling I'm gonna have a lot more content for you. This view is pretty awesome, right? This is a great freaking view. This is a diamond nuts view for sure. 100%. Arizona is beautiful, but this pollution sucks. Yes, I did break the matrix, the oath. I did do it. I really did do it. It's crazy once you learn how money works, how you learn that it's all a fraud and that you can literally just create money. Like, it does grow from trees. The central bank is a tree that prints money infinitely. So just take what's yours. Take the money from the central bank that it creates into infinity and all that inflation and all that Ponzi scheme debt, and buy crypto with it and real assets, and then build yourself up, get rich, and then blast carbon fuel emissions on their faces like they do in their Learjets and their yachts. And again, I say that cheekily because I realize that's not the goal of all of you out there. But if it is, that's fine. Go for it. For many of you, your goal is just to be the charitable silent witness. I encourage you, make so much money in Island Project and then donate $100 million to your church. Do it silently and never tell anyone about it. If you notice, I don't tell you about the charity I give because I don't believe you should talk about it. So again, whether or not you want to be the silent witness, you want to be the charitable Christian billionaire baller or the multi-millionaire baller, you want to be the silent guy who goes unspoken and nobody knows about, but there will be signs. You want to be that dude? Go for it, dude. We need you. We need you. I remember even when I was starting Greene Wave back in the day, I took a call from a Texas billionaire, and he was like, Christopher, I tune into your show, and you're fantastic, and I'd really like to, pretty much like sponsor you. And wanted to give me the opportunity to just build, a massive studio and then connect all the dots with political arms of funding, which you see with like the Ben Shapiro's and the Glenn Beck and all that kind of stuff. And I actually turned it down. And the reason I've done that, and the reason you've never seen me sign, because I've had many offers, multi-million-dollar contracts, just like Tucker Carlson and all these guys. I mean, dude, you put me in a studio with a whole team, I'm dangerous, man. I'm more dangerous actually with what I do now, but like, I'm better than everyone you watch on TV. I don't read teleprompters. I don't have a team. No one writes for me. No one does anything. I create and build everything on my own, but that's how I like it. And the reason is that's where the most freedom is. And see, everything I've always enjoyed or wanted in life is freedom. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want someone to tell me what to do. I want freedom. And freedom is the most important thing. And so what islandproject.com is for all of you tuning in, for those of you like me that enjoy freedom, that want massive success in your life, that want the 1000x gains, that want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, that want to fight back against the evil criminal cabal, that want to protect you and your family to leave a legacy to your children. This is a legacy asset. Who want control and sovereignty over your retirement accounts and your Roth IRAs before the banks tell you you don't have access to them, before stocks collapse even worse than they've done today. You join us here and you get in like all my amazing members, and you own something fantastic. And you own something real, and you become the 1000x diamond nuts baller. Then you get tokens when we create our liquidity event this year in 2024 as we posture into 2025. Then that goes live. Then you make millions and millions of dollars on top of your core safe, always has an appraised value, principal protected investment generating cash flows and capital gains every single year. And no one will ever get into our founders round again. It really is like the VC fund. It's like a buy-in for the people venture capital fund. It's almost like we're the good version of like a BlackRock, which is the enemy. We're the cowboys and the Robin Hoods that have used and broken the matrix using social media and all these things that were built over the last 2 decades. Millions of eyeballs that tune into me every year. And then we hacked the system for the good guy. You do realize that's what we did. We reverse engineered, hacked the evil cabal system, then funded ourselves and now make all of our members rich. So we become, which has always been my life goal, the Christian baller billionaire class behind the curtain, so to speak. But you see my face out in the public. But like people like my father, Papa John, our entire team, our members from all around the world. And we are that coalition of Navy SEAL, Jesus Christ worshiping badasses with unlimited power through God that always freaking win. And that's what we've built. 1000 freaking X and beyond. It's an amazing thing. Again, if you have any questions, call my dad at 808-442-2934. That's 808-442-2934. More videos like this soon. And I love you all. Enjoy the view. Enjoy a little coffee. Get your money out of the banks and the U.S. stock market now before it all goes to zero. Hi, Maddie. People ask me all the time, they're like, Christopher, how did you get rich? Well, I took my own advice and I created rich. I thought Bitcoin rich. We are islandproject.com rich. We created it. If you want to be rich and successful in your life, create it. Don't wait around for it. Don't look for a job, create it. Build your life. Build a job. Build a career. Build a lifestyle. Build your lifespan. Build your freaking health. Build your diamond nuts right here, guys. I am a little cheeky today. Must be the sun and the coffee and a little bit of lack of sleep. Anyways, I'll just walk with you for a moment. But anyways, you build your life. Doing a little pull action later today too. Maybe I'll have Donut over. Donut will come over a little bit later. Do a little pull time. Got a nice little pull back here, private spa, diamond nutting all over Paradise Valley here. Scottsdale, Cave Creek, Phoenix, Booyah, Glendale, what up? Chandler, what's up? Diamond nuts, diamond freaking nuts. To the moon and beyond. General was right again. Stock market crash. It's just begun. It's just started. And the Black Swan event is now here. And this will all make sense. Gilbert saw that as well. And all of this will make sense in the coming days. That spiritual darkness that I was feeling, that spiritual warning, is now manifesting, and I'm seeing what's going to play out. There's going to be a major event. I actually think a world leader or a world business leader, could be a politician, will no longer be with us very soon. Huge crisis. It's what they want. You know, they want pandemonium in America. They want absolute, get out of here, freaking B. They want got to call on the name of Jesus again. The blood of Christ. We push you away, demons. Yo, Calvin, what's up? Let's do a quick shout out. The Big Boss, 6568, Silver Bars. Maddie, yeah, I know you feel it, Maddie. You and I are of the same spiritual wavelength. Many of you and I are all on that same plane, and you realize we are all connected. I know you guys already know that spiritually, but like, we are all connected in the spiritual realm. That's what's so cool. Like, I can feel all of you guys tuning in. Those that are in the spiritual realm that have broken through the freaking matrix. I remember when I got my first Lambo, and I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. I'm driving like a Lambo around town. I'm like, that was created from nothing and just ideas in my head. People were like, Christopher, how do you make money? Do you have like a professional camera? Do you have like some really good technology? I'm like, the one tool that's made me millions and millions of dollars is this thing. It's just a cell phone. That's it. Nothing else. And I tell you that because a lot of you are insecure about your own success and think that you need like something to become successful. Yeah, you should, buy research, you should take courses, you should learn, you should have mentors. I do all of that. And I spend a lot of money towards all those aims, and you should read books and you should learn. But the reality is you're the only self-limiting factor. Like if you're broke on the streets right now and you have very limited access to anything, look at what tools you have around you and use them. You might only have a shovel. Well, you know what? If God gave you the shovel, start knocking on doors and be like, hey, bro, I'm a ditch digger. I'd love to dig you a garden, or I'd love to, dig graves. I mean, seriously, I'm not joking. You do with what the tools you're given, and then you create something better with whatever that tool is. So don't get discouraged out there, especially as you guys watch social media and you see a lot of people like myself that are very successful, but just keep in mind that success came over a long period of time too. Success typically doesn't come overnight unless somehow you're just gifted money or something, or you win the lottery, which sometimes happens, but it comes over long periods of work ethic, and then it looks and appears like it was easy when it's not. Same thing with Bitcoin. I mean, if Bitcoin was easily deciphered, everyone would be loaded right now in a Bitcoin billionaire. But the truth is, Bitcoin, just like Island Project, has always been your IQ test. The people that get in earlier on the IQ test win. They're the early birds, first movers, they get rich. See, you get the equivalent price Bitcoin of what your IQ actually is. The higher IQ you have, the lower you bought Bitcoin. The higher IQ you have, the earlier you bought islandproject.com. Later on in the coming years, there's going to be multiple flagships funded by our public blockchain at that point. Islandproject.com is private. It's not available to the public. I have to say it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. See the terms and disclaimers. It's not public. It's private. It's a private investment vehicle. But later on, once we tokenize and we go public and I issue shares, like a stock IPO to all my members that will be rich at that point. It's like a mini stock like IPO that goes big. Once it goes public, our public blockchain will be funding hundreds of millions of dollars of additional acquisitions all over the world. There will be flagship satellites in various locations, and all of them will be connected by the technology, by the team, by the platform itself, the full breadth and power of our brand, also marketing at that point, which right now we're not public, we're private. And that part has taken a lot of time. One thing we look at very closely, and one thing I've been studying and implementing in recent years is that regulatory roadmap. Keep in mind, a lot of people launch cryptocurrencies without any regulatory roadmap, and we've done the opposite. That's why we filed with regulators, and that's why I've been very careful about how we've moved forward in our roadmap in a changing landscape that is currently being defined. The truth is the regulatory roadmap is a moving target as they're actually looking at this in Washington, D.C. So keep that in mind as well. We saw that with XRP, for example. They launched before any regulatory roadmap and then had problems. So, that I always like to mention as well. Let's get up to 1,000 likes, man. I see 571 likes. I have a lot of viewers today too, because people are starting to realize I'm right? I've been telling you stock market crash. I've been telling you canary in the coal mine, short Tesla and Elon Musk to zero, and now it's starting to happen. Now big tech is going down. You're seeing a ton of weakness. You're seeing the biggest drop in a year in the US stock market. You're seeing the wars. You're seeing the attacks. Remember when I predicted that Iran would attack Israel directly and people told me I was a fraud and I was lying? And then they did. And remember when I told you Israel would attack Iran directly, not its proxies, but actually hit Iran? And people told me it was propaganda and I was lying to them and I was a con? And then they did. Just like the lockdowns, just like the face masks, just like all this crap. So again, trust the plan. Trust the plan. Anyways, I love you guys. That's it. Have a beautiful day. Jesus Christ is King.